worked in old homes before, you're probably very familiar with slab style doors. Now one of our options here is to completely replace them throughout the basement, and I think that works out to 4 or 5 doors, which can get costly. But what I want to show you is an option to reuse these and still make them look new. If you've noticed, we've already started painting out all the frames. So we're painting them white, and the doors will eventually be white as well. Now, we used to have this old looking trim all around the doors, around the baseboards ever. And what I'm going to do is reuse this trim and create a raised panel design on all of the slab doors. So for virtually no cost, all the trim work was already here, doors are already here, and all we'll have to do is add new hardware, so new door handles. We'll have a completely new looking door. To start out this project, we need to determine the size of the molding pieces we're going to be using for our door. In the case of our doors, they are 32 inches wide by 80 inches tall. We have settled on 4 horizontal panels for the design of the door itself. Now I'd also like 4-inch gaps between the edge of the door and the edge of the panels, as well as between the panels themselves. 4-inch gaps are perfect for creating a visually appealing look to the door, as well as for leaving space for the door hardware itself. To measure and mark my lines, I'm just simply using a tape measure and a drywall square, but something like a combination square would work just as well. Once you're finished measuring and marking up your door, you will know the size of the molding pieces you need to cut. For my door, my measurements work out to 24-inch rails, or the horizontal portion of my box, and 15-inch stiles, the vertical portion of my box. To start out, I'm using my table saw to narrow down the width of my trim pieces to 1.5 inches. You will also notice that I've got a scrap piece of 2x6 clamped to the fence on my table saw. This is to stop the trim piece from lifting up as it's pushed through the saw blade itself. Next up, I can move over to my miter saw and start cutting my rails and stiles to length. The end of each piece will be cut at a 45-degree miter. This way it can form a nice square box when it's attached to the door itself. Start out by gluing and nailing your first rail into place. Then move on to your vertical stiles. You will notice that I have pencil lines drawn directly on my door. That way I know exactly where my stiles should sit. I glue the remaining stile and the final rail in place before nailing. This allows me to make sure everything is square one last time before permanently fixing it to the door. I will repeat this process for the final 3 raised portions of the door. Make sure to wipe up any excess glue as you move along. It becomes a little bit more of a pain once the glue has dried. So the first door is done. We have 3 others to do. Basically I repeat exactly what I did here on all the other ones. The next step is going to be sanding those rails and stiles, or the trim work that I put on. And then after that we'll move on to priming the doors, getting ready for paint, and then last up will be painting them, and then that project is complete. That brings us to the end of the project. So in this case we did 2 coats of primer and then 2 coats of paint to give us that finished look. So you can see the doors here behind me. I think they turned out pretty well, and it's a great project to kind of spruce up those old slab doors without having to replace the door completely. For full step-by-step instructions, so how I made all my measurements, all of that, make sure to head over to our website and check out our blog post. The link is in the description below. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below to see more videos like this, and we'll see you guys next week.